What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Nerd Media, and I just got back from watching Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the eighth and more than likely final film in the Mission Impossible franchise. Now, I know I haven't talked about this franchise that much on this channel, but guys, when I tell you that I love this franchise and there isn't a bad movie in this series, I mean it, and I'm confident that I can say that with this movie now that it is concluded. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my review for the film, and I'm probably going to be getting into some spoilers in this video because I just can't really talk about this movie specifically without the spoilers, because there's some issues that I have with it. There's a lot of things I love. There's a lot of great moments that I want to discuss, and a lot of sad things that I want to discuss that happen in this movie as well. So with all that being said, if you're new to the channel, I'm Nerd Media. I talk about movies, TV shows, and comic books all the time on the channel. Today we're talking about Mission Impossible, but tomorrow I'm going to be talking about Lilo and Stitch, and on Monday we're going to be discussing The Last of Us, and as we ramp up for the summer, we're going to be talking about Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four, so many crazy things and so many great things coming. So with all that being said, this is your final spoiler warning. There will be spoilers in this video. And with all that being said, sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's dive right into it. So yeah, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is supposedly the final film in the franchise. And, the last two movies we've gotten from Mission Impossible have been through a lot. It's been through a writer's strike. They've been through COVID. They have been through a lot. And I just going to say it to you guys right now. I thought this movie was pretty good. I don't think that it's the best of the franchise. I don't even think it cracks my top three. I think it probably cracks my top five just at number five, but I just gotta say, I don't think it's as bad as everybody is saying. I know a lot of people are talking about the first act of this movie and not being the best, and it being kind of like a flashback fest and just kind of like all clumped together. And yes, I do agree with that on some places. I don't really see how there are a lot of flashbacks. I do feel like the first opening 5 minutes of it definitely feels like they're just throwing this all in your face. And because they just flash through like every single film in the first 5 minutes, which the way that they edited it made it really unpleasant to look at. But, I feel like they could have done that a little bit better. But the first act is definitely going to be rough for some people because it's just kind of clumped together. It has a lot of flashback stuff, but that doesn't mean that part is bad. I do enjoy the first act. I think that's fun. It's enjoyable. It has a lot of good action, but that's mainly like that's really just the act that's setting up what we're gonna get for the next two. And let me tell you, Act two and three are just, and not only infinitely better than the first acts, but they are just so great, and you get some of the best Mission Impossible moments in those acts. I'm gonna get into one storyline that was explored throughout the first act, which has to do with Luther. I really like that character, and I really do kind of enjoy and not so much enjoy what we got of him in this movie. I mean, they kind of allude to this thing that he has like a disease or something. He's like sick or something, and he's been in hiding for those 2 months trying to develop this toxic thing for it to kill the entity. And then we see him because we know that was set up in Dead Reckoning. And then they kind of allude to this sickness that he has, and that's not really touched on anymore. That feels like a whole subplot that they just cut out of the movie. And there's a lot of scenes in the first act that feel like they were longer scenes, but then they were cut down to like 10 seconds and we flash forward to them during a different scene, which I think definitely feels a little bit off when you watch it for the first time, but it's very easily just to look past it. But the way that they handled Luther's character, I enjoyed him. Obviously, he's like one of the highlights of all the films for me. But I mean, they do kill him in the first like 50 minutes, which is a worthy sacrifice with what happens. And I think that the way that they handle his death afterwards is done really, really well. And the fact that we do get a closing message from him in the film is great. And I thought that was handled really well. I just, wish we got a little bit more of him, and we wish we kept that little storyline in so we could fully understand what was going on. But I mean, even though I do have a flaw with that specifically, I think that the first act is very easy to look past. I mean, it's probably one of the weakest acts that we have in a Mission Impossible film. I think that there are definitely a lot of weak points in some of the Mission Impossible movies, and I think this is definitely one for this. And I just think that, it's not horror. The first act isn't horrible, but it's definitely not the best. I think that the best act of this movie is probably the third act, but second act, you get some crazy stunts in that, and I'm going to talk about the stunts in a second. But I think that the action, everything in this film, the emotion, the really feeling like this is the actual final mission, and this mission genuinely felt impossible sometimes as well. I mean, because it gets to a point in this franchise where you don't know if the mission's impossible or not because of how many missions they've gone through, but the way that they set up the final act of this movie and what they have to do to accomplish their goal really, really sets it up to be near impossible. And I think that it's insane that they were able to pull it off. But it's definitely, definitely, the stakes are very high, the emotions are high, the action is high, and just everything about it is great. But getting into the stunts of this movie, you guys know there are two major stunts that have been shown in the trailers. One is when Ethan goes underwater and he's like going down to the submarine we first see the entity in Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning. And then there's another one where we see him hanging onto an airplane, which is in the very last act of the film, which is a crazy, crazy scene, by the way. I mean, it's just so stressful, but so great. And I think that those two stunts that we get in this movie, I would put the argument that the one on the plane is the best that we've seen of the franchise so far. And I think that the underwater sequence has some of the most beautiful visuals that we have seen in terms of like the stunts in the Mission Impossible franchise. It is so stressful, so insane, and I think that that one may be a little bit more stressful than the actual plane sequence, but it has some of the most beautiful visuals and some of the most breathtaking stunt work that you see from Tom Cruise, and just it's really just the culmination of everything that he has done, and it really feels like this is the peak of where he can possibly go for these films. Like if you're somebody who goes into these films just wanting the stunts, you are not going to be disappointed whatsoever. They are seriously some of the best. I may do a ranking later next week talking about my ranking of all the stunts in this film, and if you see these two at the top, don't be surprised because they seriously are the craziest ones that he has done, and that is saying a lot because he has done a lot of crazy stuff. And yeah, this movie definitely raises the stress level to where you would think it would go. I mean, I just really, really, really dug this movie. Overall, it was a very fun experience. So many great moments. I gotta say, what Mission Impossible has done recently with some of their films in the past few years is they've uniquely switched the aspect ratio with IMAX in a very unique and slow way that they do it twice in this movie that I love it every time. They get really creative with that, and just seeing it on IMAX, that's the way to see this movie. In fact, that's the way to see any movie, in my opinion. IMAX is the best way to experience a movie. I will stand by that. I'm not being paid by IMAX to say that. I wish I was because it's so true, and I would 100%. Like, it's seriously just a great experience to witness a movie like this in IMAX. Like, during some sequences and some scenes in this movie, I was really going, this is why we go see movies. Like I said, overall, I did have a really great time, and I think that this movie is really, really good. And I don't know if I'm going to be going back to rewatch it because we got a lot of stuff to prepare for. I'm pretty busy, so I don't know if I'm going to get back to rewatching this. But if I ever turn it on the TV one day and I go back to rewatch it, I may even enjoy it a little bit more just because I know what I'm going into and I know what to expect. But yeah, it's a really good film. It really does a great job at closing out the entire franchise for Mission Impossible while also leaving the door open for what could happen in the future because you never know. Tom Cruise said it himself. He still has more in him. So we could get a Mission Impossible 9 in the future. I'm not sure, but they really closed it out well, and I really, really appreciate how they handled the ending to the franchise with such care and emotion and just really great fan service moments as well because you see characters returning from the first Mission Impossible movie that you would have never assumed would return, and they actually play a key vital role in the movie, which I thought was great, and that was like a really great addition to have that character in there. You guys know who I'm talking about. Overall, great time at the movies. You have to see this in the theaters in IMAX. See it on the biggest screen that you can, and it seriously is a really great time. If you're a fan of the franchise, I can't guarantee you're gonna love it, but I can guarantee you are going to be amazed by the stunts, and you are going to really feel the emotions of the stress, the sadness, the happiness, the really just exciting moments of this film. You're going to feel all of it regardless of your opinion on this movie. But I would love to hear it from you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Have you seen the film yet? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And if you stuck around the video this long, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Clearly that said something that you liked or you were just entertained. So subscribe, comment down below, like the video. Share this with your friends so that they can see an opinion on Mission Impossible to decide if they want to go see it or not. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.